Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to welcome you to this webinar. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. I have a powerful presentation that is so much better than my previous ones. Yes, I have presented webinars on online teaching because I believe the future of education is going to be online. So imagine the better we learn how to teach our subject matters. But before we teach our subject matter, we have to learn how to teach students, how to reach out to our students who come to us to learn and to become successful themselves. So we need to up our games to really help our students. My name is Val Marguerite. I have been teaching online for over 10 years now on different, using different learning environments, like for example, Canvas and Blackboard, and I love it. And my students are very happy with the way I teach and the way I connect with them and the strategies that I use. And so what better way for you to learn how to become an excellent instructor, teaching online yourself, than being here with me, learning from me, and together we can become better, right? Because it's all about learning every day and becoming better every day. No one has all the answers, but together I think we can be successful. And so I am going to share my screen in just a moment, but I want to welcome you. Yes, thank you. Welcome, welcome. I want to welcome you to this presentation here. I recognize the times we live in now are unprecedented, right? The challenges we have around us are unprecedented, and education is one of them. And I think this is the time for us to really do something about it and transform our education, the way we teach and the way we connect with our students. Our students need us. Our students are crying for help and for guidance and for motivation and inspiration. And I think we can do that. I mean, who better to do that than you, right? Ourselves. Who is better prepared than to make the impact only we can make? So without a further ado, so let's begin. Let's begin. Let me share my screen here. Okay, let's do this. Okay. There we go. Share. Perfect. There we go. So once again, welcome, welcome. I see people coming in, and that's absolutely incredible. I am so happy. I should tell you a little bit about myself so you know exactly who I am and what I bring to the table. First of all, I have to tell you that I'm very passionate about teaching and empowering students and faculty to raise awareness and become themselves better so they can reach out to the people around them, to the students, and to everyone around them so they can become better. And let me share here. I am an award-winning educator. I'm a leader and a speaker and an author. I have degrees in sociology, which I absolutely love, and of course in education, educational leadership. I have over 15 years of experience, 10 of which have been teaching online and of course serving in different other capacities. I have a best-selling book, Why Not You, right? Why not you? How to become an empowered woman, but of course a man too. The book, in fact, a new version is coming up probably in a week or so, and that is for everyone, how to become empowered, because I think that's what we need. We need each other. We need to support each other to become empowered so we can pursue our dreams and our goals, and in the process, right, we can become our best selves. I am also an NLP. If you don't know what that means, I'm sure you have heard about the neural linguistic programming. And all that is all about understanding how the brain works, especially related to learning, and then use the strategy and the skills from there to update our programming. So we can incorporate new perceptions, new ideas, new habits, new attitudes that will actually help us achieve the best life possible for ourselves. I'm a mindfulness meditation, and I'm really excited to talk to you about that also in our presentation, because I believe that's really the key to understanding what's going on up here, right? We have to just sit and observe what's going on so we can understand ourselves better. Marathon runner, yes, I love challenges. I think, the body is doing what the mind is telling the body to do. That makes sense? Yes. So if we believe ourselves that we can do something, then we train our brain, and the brain then will respond to our command, right? And will help you achieve what it is we want to achieve. And of course, I also have an online course on Udemy that is called The Complete Guide to Achieving Success in College and Beyond. And I hope you check that out. And I believe in human potential. I believe you and everyone out there is capable to learning and to achieving anything. Why I know that? Because I know the science behind it. The brain is elastic, right? This concept, neuroplasticity, that tells us now the science, it's there. It tells us that the brain changes itself throughout life. So imagine there is nothing stopping you from achieving what you want. So thank you so much once again. I see people still coming in as I speak, and that's amazing. So let's move on. Okay, what are we going to achieve today? Our agenda for today, as you see, we are going to talk about mindsets, the beliefs and the skills that are really behind successful online learning. Because as you may know, online learning and even face-to-face learning, it's all about the teachers and the connection they have with their students. It's about relationships. I don't think you'll be surprised that it's not really about technology when it comes to successful online teaching. And it's about relationships, the ability of the professor, of the teacher, of the instructor to connect with the student at the human level. And then when they do that, once they do that, if they do that, they will be successful in teaching their subject matter. So we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about challenges and opportunities for us. What are the challenges? I think we all know what they are, but also with every challenge, there is an opportunity for growth, opportunity for learning. We are also going to talk about strategies to improve online teaching. So your strategies are aligned with your own passion and purpose, because when they're aligned with your purpose, guess what? That's where the energy and the enthusiasm comes from. And you're going to enjoy teaching, and you're going to have fun with your students while delivering amazing results. And last but not least, we are going to talk about motivation strategies. What kind of motivation strategies work for students? And we are going to look at the science, because the students are waiting for us to listen to them. The students are telling us what works and what doesn't. So we just need to listen and then implement this motivational strategies. Excellent. So, online education is all about online teaching. That's where we're going. That's where the future is. 77, almost 80% of the people are online as we speak, teaching, learning, facilitating some type of learning. So it's incredibly important for us to really understand, what do we need? What skills, what attitudes, what kind of behaviors, right? How do we come across to this camera? How do you see me right now? What do you feel? What kind of perceptions do you have about me, for example? Because that's what students do, right? When they turn on the camera, the computer, when they log into their classes, they see you, and they either will be fascinated, right, and motivated and empowered by you, And that depends what kind of commentary, what kind of narrative you have. Or they'll be like, oh, just another class, it's boring and this and that. So we want to change the old traditional way and implement a new way, a more of a coaching and facilitating, if you will, guiding students to become better every day better than yesterday. So incredibly important, as you can see. What are some of the challenges that we have? Of course, as a reminder, and I'm sure you know, our graduation rates are too low. In fact, they are incredibly low, and I'm always fascinated by us not learning or not coming up with the strategies to increase student graduation. So every student has an equal opportunity to achieving their dreams. Students come to us to achieve success. I have yet to meet a student who is coming to us to fail, right? Students come to us because they want to achieve success. They want to learn. They want to open up their minds, right? They want to find out who they are, their identity, their dreams, their aspirations. And they look up to us to provide all of that. So obviously we are not doing a good job because too many students, for all these reasons, they drop out or they just give up altogether. And as a result, graduation rates are too low. As you can see here, and this is for the first-time, full-time students, right? I mean, look at these numbers. We need to do better, and I know we can do better. College graduations, again, are they important, the rates? Absolutely, they are important. And look, by race and by gender. Now, during this time, we have a conversation going on in the world, really, but definitely here in the United States. And that is about race and how we engage in discussing race and how that plays an important role when it comes to education, for example. And it absolutely has. Look, right? White, it's always first, and then every other race is behind. We have to understand why. I mean, this is going on for way too long, and we know why. We absolutely know why. Students of different races, they need different resources. They need different help. So as an instructor, when you teach online, you cannot have one size fits all kind of teaching, right? It has to be learner-centered, student-centered, but in how you approach teaching, your pedagogy has to be diversified, meaning that the way you teach has to be productive and successful to every student, or at least most of your students. So for you to do that, right, you need to understand your students. You need to have that connection, as I said at the beginning of the webinar, the connection and the relationship you develop with your students. That's incredibly important. You cannot have the success I know you can without establishing that strong relationship with your students. And you will see how to do that in a little bit. When it comes to a global representation, look, out of the 29 developed countries, and this was in 2012, and I don't think it's that much higher today, but this is a good scale here, a good data for us to take a look at. Look, for example, at the United States. The United States is just above 40% when it comes to all these other countries. 40%. We absolutely need to do better than that. And this is a problem for our students, because what this means is that our students are not ready. They're not prepared. They don't have the skills to integrate successfully in the global workforce and work successfully with people from around the world. So when we teach, of course, we have to take into consideration the skills our students need to be successful once they join the workforce. Not just to get that degree, we have to make sure the degree will work for them. The degree will help them achieve their best job opportunity. So opportunities for us, are plenty. So many opportunities that now is probably one of the most incredible time for us to really pivot, if you will, and upgrade our teaching skills and strategies so we can have even a bigger impact as we teach our students online, for example. And some of the opportunities are here. Transformational approach to education, how we teach, right? It has to be relevant and competitive. Online education is the future, as we have seen in that previous slide. The opportunity to improve the way we teach, the opportunity to prepare our students for the global market, to use science-based teaching pedagogy, because we need to understand how the brain works. If we don't understand how the brain works, if we don't understand the motivational strategies that our students respond to, we are not going to have the impact we want to have. So that's incredibly important. And equity and diversity and inclusion, that's the key ingredient. We need to allocate the resources based on a need. Some students have a need of a different strategy in order for them to understand what we're teaching. So keeping that in mind, keeping in mind that students come to us with different levels of understanding and of learning, different abilities level, keeping that in mind, when we create our lessons, when we design our course, then we are going to be looking for different opportunities that respond to the majority of our students. And we know that the more educated people, the better world we are going to have for ourselves. People are still coming in. Excellent. So we have to begin with mindset, because everything is here. The mindset behind the brain, as I call it. I often talk about the most powerful computer each one of us has is this one right here that sits right between our ear. And this computer is underutilized. And I think that's where the secret is for all of us. We need to go in there and we need to understand it and we need to use it so we can achieve anything we want. My friends, yes, I have been studying neuroscience and neuroplasticity for the past 7 years. I have reprogrammed my entire life and I teach from that perspective. I teach from the perspective that every student is capable of achieving their own dreams and success. So this is what we need to do in our classes. And we begin with the mindset. We have to look at the mindset of our students, but perhaps before we have this exercise with our students, perhaps it's best to do it ourselves. You ask yourself some questions about your own mindset and perceptions when it comes to learning and teaching. So the two mindsets that most people are familiar with are the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. I'm sure you have heard, probably you have done some work yourself, I'm sure you have, but please be sure you emphasize this in your class. Ideally at the beginning of your class, because you want to begin your course on a positive note, on a positive level. You want to make sure your students are empowered by knowing that they have the capability, they just need to work. They need to put the effort forward to really develop the skills they need so they can do really well in your class and in every other class and eventually in their lives, in their career. So please have a talk about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what would happen if our students are going to be, eager to come up to class because they want to learn, they want to grow. They're not afraid of getting a C in your class because they understand they got a C because they didn't learn, they didn't work hard enough, right? So they'll probably come to you and say, hey, professor, how can I do better next time? Because this time I got a C and I know why. So they have this desire of learning and growing, and that's what we want. They are looking for feedback from you because they understand the harder they work, the better they become. And your feedback, it's incredibly important to their success. So this is number one, probably one of the first lessons you should have with your students. Okay. Here is a private universe. That's what it's called. It's a short documentary done by Harvard. I want to invite all of you to watch this, to see that even when we are aware of some of the things that we shouldn't do or believe, our preconceived ideas create barriers for us to really take a step back, listen, and think. And this has to do with self-efficacy, with beliefs about who we are, how we learn, our ability to learn, about intelligence, about socialization. That's where our preconceived ideas come from, right? Socialization, education, and environments. And as a sociology professor, having taught sociology for the past 15 years, I have to tell you that some of the discussions I have in with my students in my classes are based on their preconceived ideas. They never thought that the way they were socialized, right? The way they were educated up to this point, the way they grew up, their environment, perhaps at home or their friends, have had a big influence in who they are today and the beliefs they have today about the things that matters to them and values. So please take a look at that. Okay, so here's the question, right? What determines our intelligence? Having answers to these questions will allow us to become excellent, transformative educators online, right? Without having a good grasp on mindsets of intelligence, of how the brain learns, how people learn, we won't be as effective. So that is why I have designed this presentation with having this foundation, right? Just like a house. Having a strong foundation, it's incredibly important to having a good house that withstands challenges. Well, the same thing with this presentation, and perhaps with every course you design, every course you teach for your students, for your school. So what determines our intelligence? Is it fixed? Or is part of that growth mindset that we can grow our intelligence? Obviously, we can grow. Of course, we can become more intelligent every day, and that is related to our belief about intelligence. If we believe that we can, obviously we are going to place ourselves and our students in learning environments that create that opportunity for them to learn and to grow and to achieve their dreams and their goals. So we become intelligent as we speak every day. And as I always say, our competition is ourselves. My competition is me yesterday. I tell the students every day I want to learn and improve. And having that kind of mindset, it tells me that, I can do that by, learning how my brain works, right? By, signing up for challenges every day that teaches my brain how to become resilient and not give up. The same thing we can do with our students. Neuroplasticity. This is it. Remember I was telling you a while ago about this neuroplasticity concept that teaches us that the brain is plastic. And that means that it changes throughout life. I mean, that's incredible when you think about it, right? Because it tells us that anybody has an equal opportunity to learn and develop their capability to perform at a higher level. So I invite all of you to do some work, some presentations. I invite you to create an assignment for your students about neuroplasticity and about how they learn and how they interact with different learning environments. It doesn't matter what subject you teach, whether it's math, whether it's sociology, hard sciences, social sciences, it doesn't matter. We are talking about learning. So for you to have the success, for you to become an excellent professor, teacher, instructor, you need to understand the foundation, how people learn. And to do that, you need to go through these concepts. Now, think about it. Not only that you are going to help your students, but think about yourself. You are going to perhaps have a personal transformation because your life will never be the same. And then you have this opportunity to change your students' lives. Isn't that incredible? Because our goal, as educators, we want to make the world better by helping our students become better themselves. So let's move on to how people learn. It's important that we have a very clear understanding about how we learn, how we react to different learning environment, as I said. So understanding this is your first step towards the highest performance instructor you are going to become. Just a little bit here I have on the human brain, the most powerful, underused, right, is the brain. I have done so much work, and the more I do, right, the more I learn about the brain and neuroplasticity and how different parts of the brain respond to different environments, the more I find out how little I know. And let me tell you something. You don't need a neuroscience degree. You don't need to go back to school to get a neuroscience degree or to learn about neuroplasticity or anything like that. You perhaps have enough degrees already. All you need is to go online. There are so many resources, free, about anything, as you know, right? But when it comes to neuroplasticity and neuroscience, I know many teachers and many students are afraid. They think, oh, I can do that. I need a degree to understand that. No, you don't. What you need is a desire to learn and to empower yourself with the information, with the knowledge, so you can become a powerful instructor yourself, and then you can transmit that information, that knowledge to your students. That's all you need, because that's what I am doing. So the brain filters, remember the brain filters? Have you heard of brain filters? Imagine a brain filter, the thinking brain, or prefrontal cortex, as we call it. That's the thinking brain. If we don't have brain filter, we can let in all kinds of information. And as a result, we become confused and overwhelmed with all kinds of information. So that's why it's incredibly important that we have filters. Just like filters on our phone, right? When it comes to photography, for example, with photos, pictures, we use filters, yes. We use filters to give the impression, I don't know. I try to stay closer to reality, because I think we want to have a real world and real people, right? Well, the same thing with the brain. If we are not careful about the information that's coming in from TV, from the news, from social media, then we are not going to have space in our brain for the thinking part of the brain, right? Prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, to really analyze and make the decision necessary for ourselves, whether it's about work or personal life or teaching, whatever that is. So we need to be careful about brain filters and have these filters on, so that the information that wants to break in, right, wants to come in, you are the one in control of that information. And you say, I want this, I don't want that. This is useful for me, so I'm going to let it in. This is not useful for me, so I say no. But to do that, we need to be aware and have a high sense of awareness. And we develop that by meditating. That's why earlier I told you about the power of meditation. So look at this. All these different parts of the brain are responsible, are in control of different responses to learning. And, the ultimate brain workout, as I have it here, workout, right? To keep ourselves healthy, to keep a healthy brain. When we do different types of exercises, as we see here, we create a stronger, more resistant and resilient brain, a smooth brain that will help us achieve our goals faster, because we are taking care of our brain by working out, by meditating, by eating well, by reading, and by having these filters on, so that the brain only works when we need to work, because we know what kind of results we want to deliver. Isn't that fascinating? I think this is fascinating, and I think this is revolutionary and transformative, and that's what schools and professors do. They really have a clear understanding on how the brain works and what are the strategies and the skills that we need to work on to create a powerful computer that all of us have already, right? That's right here. So let's move on to the next one. These are just some of the links that are important. I thought are important for you to know that the science is there. The science is there and ready and waiting for us to explore so we can become powerful and informed with science-based knowledge. Well, of course, you know who this is. And I always go back to this and have a conversation with my students and say, you know, I never teach you or, you know, my students, I only provide the conditions in which you can learn. And that's why I said a while ago about the learning environments, right? We create a learning environments for all of our students to come in and feel free to think and to be creative and to ask questions without fear of failure, which goes back to the fixed mindset, right? And the growth mindset. When we cultivate a growth mindset, our students then are eager to share what they know and what they want to learn. They're not afraid to fail. And that's what we need to cultivate for our students. So, what students want from their online instructors? You probably already know, but here are some of the things that I know and we know from science. The students tell us. The students know what they want. We just have to listen to them and then use that to incorporate in our teaching, in our pedagogy, in our course design. And they want value. They want what they need in the real world. They want their courses to be about their goals and aspirations. They want choices. They want to be teammates, if you will. They want to be a part of the course design and the teaching. They want to be facilitated. They want to play an important role in their learning. And they want their teachers to be enthusiastic and passionate about what they teach and why they teach. Because as you know, passion, enthusiasm is contagious. And when you teach from that perspective, from the perspective that, you know, your teaching can change lives, that you believe in your power, right? That you can change minds, then that comes across. And that has never been more important than online. Okay, design for excellent online teaching. We have to keep in mind these 4 components when we teach our students, because if we don't, so we have the content, we have the students, of course. The students is the first. We need to understand our students in terms of technology level, access to technology, learning styles or preferences. And then we go to the content, the course goals, learning outcomes, cognitive levels. Then we go to the instructor, and that is you. Your role, your time availability, technology, and the technology types. Many students tell us that they don't have what they need to access your course. They don't have the understanding of the technology tools that perhaps you have in your lessons. So keeping all of this in mind before you design your course, it's incredibly important for you and also will allow you to achieve the success you need for your students. So please keep this in mind, the design for excellent online teaching. Even if your courses are already designed, you still have a lot of power and control in the way you teach and the way you explain your assignments to your students. So please keep that in mind. Now, who are your students? Without understanding our students, it's impossible to deliver powerful lessons. Because our lessons, our teachings, it's about the students. So that's the first step. And for example, here I have a slide that is 2020 from Gates Foundation, and you can find it there. And look, our students are everywhere, all ages, full-time, part-time, working, family, responsibilities, right? All different, diverse students, financial aids, race, you name it. So having a good understanding, having a good profile of our students' demographic will allow us to be even more powerful when we create our lessons and the way we interact with our students. Because we know, like for example, if I know all of you, let's say you are all over this spectrum, the way I communicate with you now, I keep that in mind. So when I communicate with you, I'm addressing to all of you. And when I say all of you have the capability of achieving success, no matter what area you are going to pursue, that is because I understand who you are, and I understand the power of your brain, right? Which becomes better and more powerful the more you work on it and understand how your own brain learns. So now let's talk about the strategies for excellent online teaching. So you see what we've done so far? We have really created a strong foundation, right? We understand that part of the foundation is the mindset. We understand that part of that is our brain, which is our computer that we need to take care of, and we need to understand how it works and how to keep it strong and smooth so it can help us achieve anything we want fast, right? So we have to keep those filters on so we don't allow information that is useless in. And now we are ready with everything we have, with that strong foundation, we are ready to explore some strategies that will allow you to really make the impact you need to make online. So let's go to the first one. The first one, here we go, is your persona, your course, your teaching, and your assignment. So let's take a look at each one. So your persona, who are you when you show up in class, right? Who are you? Are you teaching with enthusiasm and energy? Are you expressive, right? Do you have this firm belief, right? Self-efficacy that your students are capable of understanding and achieving success in your class? Do you already know your students? Do you have that strong connection with your students? Do you use, all kinds of possibilities and opportunities to help all of your students achieve success? Are you futuristic, right? Is your mindset future ready to really, explain to your students that what we're doing will allow you to achieve success in the real world? That's your persona. And don't be afraid to be human, to show your human side. Share stories, who you are, where you're from, your struggles. Show your authentic self, because that's what students want. Students tell us all the time that their professors are not authentic and they don't show their human side. Let me remind you, because now we know from the brain science, to really excel in your classes, we need to learn how to share our stories, storytelling, that bind people together. So please take a look and do a little bit of work on your persona and really understand how you come across. What's the second one with regards to the motivation strategies? It's your course. We already talked a little bit about this, right? So when you design your course, you have to really take time out and think about your students. Ideally, you would have a list of your students, who they are, where they're from, so you have a good profile of your students. And if you don't, you can reach out to your school, to your department, perhaps your admission department. They may have a roster with your students and additional information. The more you know about your students, the more powerful you will be in helping your students achieve success and also connecting with them. So in designing your course, keep this in mind, right? The why, the what, and the how. Once you keep this in mind, you will have incredible success. Let me tell you, incredible success, because this is transformative. So, you cannot design your courses or your lessons without thinking about what students need. What are the skills your student need to practice during your class with you? And are those skills transferable in the real world immediately? I usually have these conversations with my students and invite them to be participants in their learning. I ask them, hey, what kind of skills do you think you need in the real world? So let's create this plan for success together. When students are involved in their learning and planning, they will be responsible and accountable. And that's what you want. You want your students to be involved. Show choices, show a flexibility and an adaptability. And that's when students will take control, and you'll just be there as a facilitator, like a coach. right? Why the best teams hire the best coaches? Because they know they can become better. And they know it's one thing to get on at the top and another to stay there. So you need to hire the best coaches to keep you there at the top. The same thing with teaching. Schools know they will hire the best teachers, right? Because they want to achieve success for their institution and for their students. So keep this in mind, the universal design for learning. Okay, your teaching and coaching style, right? What is your teaching and coaching style? Is it learner-centered, which is student-centered? Are you a lifelong learner? Because if you are a lifelong learner, then students also understand that you like to learn and you perhaps share your story with your students. If you are reading every day, perhaps, if you are researching the latest brain science that will really inform you what to use in the classroom, what works in the classroom, and what students need, then your students will do the same thing. So that's why it's incredibly important to do that on a daily basis. So look at some of the things that you can immediately implement in your class. Explain to the students why you choose to teach the way you do, why it's important to teach the way you do. Explain to the students the assignments. Now, if you have already accomplished the previous step, which we discussed, the students already know, right? The students already know that the assignments you have chosen for them are the ones they need to be successful in the real world. And why you believe that all of them, they can achieve success is because you have already done your work with regards to brain science. You are walking the talk, right? You are one of those professors that not just talk, but you do it yourself. And you show your students how to do it. Right? You walk them from the first step to the end. You show samples in your class. Show the students what an assignment, for example, that has 100 points looks like, right? And also show them what an assignment of 70 or a C, if you are using a grading system, looks like. So that students know exactly what they need to do to achieve the success they are capable of achieving. Excellent. Yes. And the last one is your assignments. We already discussed the what, the why, and the how. Your assignments are created with your students in mind. So when you do that, of course, your students are going to learn because it's about them, right? They are now having an opportunity to practice the skills they need so they can use those skills when they get that degree and they get the job in the real world. So they will be equal participants in this learning process that you have worked so hard in that preliminary phase, right? The foundation phase that we talked about. So don't be afraid to have your students take different leadership roles, if you will, and to show you what they know in different ways. Be flexible and adaptable. The two the flexibility and adaptability are skills, futuristic skills that you as an instructor and your students need to have. As you know, the world is changing as we speak, and the education, and many people have trouble with that. In fact, we are way behind where the world is at the moment. So we need to speed up and make the progress we need so we can prepare our students and ourselves for the real world. And now we are going to cover the 6 methods that you need that are embedded in the latest science when it comes to achieving success in online learning and also in face-to-face classes. Because we know excellent instructors, what do? They inspire, yes, and empower their students to change perceptions. If they come to your class and they think that, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, well, you already know that they can, so now you have to use your science-based strategies to help your students shift perspectives and beliefs so they too can achieve what they want to achieve. And don't leave them behind, please. Yes. Okay, so just because I want you to be aware of the science behind it, here it is. All the theories are listed here that actually inform our decision-making when it comes to student success and excellence in online teaching. These are really powerful, and that's why I'm so excited about sharing this with you, right? Because I want you to be as excited and enthusiastic as I am, so that your students can look up to you as their role model, so they can also, do the same thing. Okay, so the first one is, yes, part of this framework, your powerful framework, which will make you a successful and excellent educational leader, is what? Share a vision for your course. Share this vision with your class, with your students, ideally first day of class. In fact, what I do, and it's even better, is to create this vision with your students live, together, in the classroom. Talk to them about your vision. Ask them, what should our vision be? And of course, your vision includes their goals, right? You have to identify the goals and clarify the goals, communicate the goals, and then you set your goals and you apply your strategies to achieve the goals. Your students will be so happy to see you take the time to create this vision, which is all about themselves, as it should be, of course. So please do that as your first step. And as I said, if you don't have an opportunity to do this live with your students, then you do it yourself with your students in mind, and then share with them during your first class. Your second step in your framework is you model excellence and mastery. You are the excellent instructor, and you are a role model for your students. Yes? And how do you do that? By showing them how to get it done. What do you mean by a role model? How do you do it? Show the students how to be successful in the real world themselves. And you are going to promote successful behaviors, right? Successful behaviors, skills, strategies. Ask them their values, what they want to achieve, what kind of life they want to live, what kind of career they want to pursue. Yes? And then when you create all these assignments, you are going to have high expectations. And you are not going to leave anyone behind because, hey, let me remind you again about that foundation that we already talked about. The brain, the powerful computer that's underused. Come on, let's use it and develop it so we can achieve anything. There is no reason why any of our students or any of us should not achieve anything they want in life. Moving on to number 3. In order for us to become better tomorrow than we are today, we need to be challenged. Yes, we need to be intellectually challenged, and also we need to encourage our students to take on challenges. Because many students, let's face it, they come to us without the belief that they can actually get done something that is challenging. So we need to support them in this journey. Yes, so we need to support them and help them improve their confidence level a little bit at the time. Yes, so every day, once you believe in their capability, and of course you do, create assignments or lessons that will take them from point A to point B a little bit at the time, one step at a time. Because if you ask of them too much at once, they will feel overwhelmed and they're going to give up. So you need to be very strategic about how you build your confidence level, right? Intellectually, personally, physically. So this is how you do it. Then the next one, step number 4 in your powerful framework is to personalize attention and feedback. You can't have a one-size-fits-all, right? Like, for example, Amazon, or I don't know. Excuse me, let me take that back, in fact, because Amazon has a personalized shopping for us, right? I think I meant sort of like a shopping stores, but even them, they become so much smarter with the AI and technology available today that when you go to Amazon to buy a pair of shoes, they are going to show you things that you should buy that you never thought about it, right? And then you log out of Amazon, and everywhere you go online, Amazon is following you, showing you things that you should buy, that you need, that you never thought about it. I mean, think about that for a second. A personalized shopping list for every individual. How powerful is that? Well, of course, it's powerful because Amazon is one of the most powerful platforms in the world. How about we do that for ourselves and our students? Can you imagine what could happen to the education system? It will be transformed. And I don't see a reason not to be transformed since we have everything we need today. And we have the technology. We have the AI, right? Technology that you are already using it. Like, for example, Siri. Did you ask Siri today? Any questions? Or your Google Assistant. So you see, we need to make use of technology that's already available to achieve the success we need in our professional lives, our personal lives, our academic lives. There is no reason to wait for Facebook and Amazon and all these big companies to tell us what we should be doing. We can use the same technology to do it ourselves and take control over our learning and our own success. And step 5, create learning opportunities for your students and perhaps for yourself that are experiential. Students need to interact with the real world. And this is one of the complaints we hear from our students, that what they learn is not applicable in the real world. Well, because the assignments and the way we teach and the way we relate the information and we interact with the real world is not present in our classes, and we need to change that. So when you create your assignments, be sure that you create problem-based assignments, project-based assignments, right? You have reflection embedded in your assignment, because that's when we learn, when we reflect on our pattern of learning, our behavior, so we can address some of the challenges, some of the problems we have or we see. Real world experience is what our students need. And I believe you and I, all of us, can do that because we have the information and we have the capability to do that. And number 6, and last, I believe, is to promote reflection and lifelong learning. Lifelong learning, it's no longer an option. Today, we live in a world that is changing as we speak. Lifelong learning people have a futuristic mindset, and they understand, they know that to be relevant, to be employed, if you will, right? To have an understanding of how the world works, we need to become lifelong learners. And we need to learn every day and adapt, yes, and become relevant in what it is we're doing. And this is one of the most important skills, really, when you think about how much longer we live these days, and that today we change careers 10 to 12 times. So the world is unpredictable, life is unpredictable, and we need to train ourselves for that unpredictability. So we don't, we're not going to be surprised when something like the crisis we are experiencing today happens. When something happens next, we are ready, we are prepared, we are resilient, and we are going to adapt to whatever it is we need to do. And of course, I have a bonus for you as we finish up our lecture today, our webinar today. And the bonus is this: you need to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a plan to succeed, you definitely have a plan to fail. So your plan, you need to really have that reflection. You know, I am a journal person. I journal every day. I journal in the morning and I journal in the evening. That's one of the powerful ways to understanding how your mind, how your brain works, and also how you think and how you react to different events. When you think about the way you live, the way you think, the way you react, the way you interact with people, that's when you are going to be able to address some of the things. And what's not working, get rid of it. And what's working, perhaps you do better, even better tomorrow. So journaling and reflection is very, very powerful. And I hope that's something for you to do in your classes and in your life if you are not already doing it. So some of the general personality traits and career-related traits are listed here. And please take a moment to really understand that these are no longer optional, my friends. They are no longer optional. The world we live in today expect us to have this. People who are going to make progress, people who are going to excel in their careers and are going to have meaningful and purposeful lives are going to master these behaviors, these traits. We're talking about what? Self-confidence, humility, your core self-evaluation, who you are and your values and self-awareness, your authenticity. Do you have a purpose? Because that's where your authentic self comes from. Or you are just, looking at anybody and anything that it's exciting. Because if that's the case, then you are not going to achieve what you really achieve that gives you that gives your life meaning, really. Are you outgoing? Are you a positive and optimistic person? Are you enthusiastic about how you live and how you teach? Are you funny? Do you have a humorous style? Or are you one of those people very rigid, right? And have trouble adapting? Then, you have this list here, and this is a very good list for you to take a look and evaluate yourself where you are. And then have a plan to increase, right? To increase your level of confidence and humility and everything else. Now, when it comes to career related, as you can see, do you have a passion for work and the people you work with? How is your emotional intelligence? Because that's one of the first skills we need in the 21st century. Emotional intelligence. And of course, that's related to your feelings, your empathy you have for other people, your awareness level, and your cultural intelligence. We live in a global society. Most likely you are going to work with people from around the world. How is your cultural intelligence? How much you know about other people and other cultures and their beliefs and their values? Because when you have awareness and knowledge about that, guess what? It's going to make you a powerful leader, a powerful teacher, a powerful team worker. And that's what we need in our students, to become powerful leaders to solve the world's problems. How about adaptability? Do you adapt on the fly, or you are going to say and complain, oh, I can do this or I can do that, right? No, you have to adapt as we go and have the humility, right? And be understanding. Because if we are authentic about our struggles, if we are authentic about our successes, people see that. And because they want to succeed, they of course understand our struggles, because they are going to struggle on their journey to success as well. And our conclusion, of course, as with every lesson that we teach, right? We want to recap. We want to bring our students back to what we have learned, so that they can keep that information from short memory to hopefully to the long memory. And at the end of every class, I suggest you have a journal for your students, so they can write down at least 3 things they have learned, what they really loved about your class, what skills they have learned during your class, and how they are applicable in the real world. That's what's going to make you an excellent online educator, online teacher and leader. You are doing all of these things with your students in mind, and concluding your class with a powerful reflection about everything you've done. It's a way to, number one, show your students that's important for you to reflect over what we've done. And also it's an opportunity for you and your students to tell you how you've done, so you can adjust your teaching. Because if you are not achieving the level of success you need to achieve, how would you know? Well, let me tell you, ask your students. They'll tell you. Excellent. Yes. So please go to my website, valmarguerite.com. There you will find events and other offers, my books. You can sign up for my newsletter if you haven't already. My Udemy course, The Complete Guide to Achieving Success in College and Beyond. It's there. It's a successful course. I believe we already have over 30 people already, and I want you to go and check it out. My book, Why Not You? How to Become an Empowered Woman. And of course, the new book is coming up in a week or so, and that is for everyone. But let me tell you, this book is not just for women, it's really for everybody. But yeah, stay tuned for the new version. And of course, training and coaching and consulting offers and free help, of course, resources for you, all available on my website. But of course, I look forward to receiving your emails. If you have any questions for me, if you have any suggestions about new webinars and lectures that I should create for you, so you can become even more powerful and successful in your career. And with all that being said, this is our, the time has come to an end for us. I want once again, thank you so much for your time today. Let me stop this here for a second. Here you go. I want to thank you so much for, yes, thank you. Hi. I want to thank you so much for joining me today for this powerful webinar in how to become successful, excellent in teaching online and in face-to-face classes. But make no mistake, the future is going to be online. The future of education is going to be online. So the more prepared you are, the more powerful you are in connecting with your students at a human level, the more you understand how that foundation that we already went over it, how the brain works, how we can develop our powerful computer so we can achieve our goals and desires, so we can build the life we want for ourselves and our students, the more successful we are going to be together. So I want to thank you so much one more time. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to receiving your email, as I said earlier, and please join me on my next webinar. But I hope you tell me what you need. What do you struggle with today that you need to learn so you can become a powerful online educator and face-to-face educator? Because the world as it is today tells us that online teaching is the future. So we need to help each other to become powerful in teaching and in helping our students achieve success. Everyone, thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let me know. Anybody has any questions? If not, I look forward to receiving your emails. And please, I am going to send a short feedback survey to you. It's really important for me because, like your students, I too want to become better. So to become better, I need to know what you think if I have achieved and met your expectations. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a great day. And don't forget, you are amazing already. And together, we can become unstoppable and transform education as it is into what it should be, so every student can achieve their best self. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you. Let's see if we have any questions. Please send your questions if you have any. I'm going to look for them here. Excellent. Let's stop. So many people we have here. This is awesome. Oh, this makes me super happy. So I am going to stop the recording. We are finished. Thank you, everyone.